Hello, hello. Happy Sunday, friends. This is Grace here at the Comfy Nest with Grace. Welcome, welcome to the Christ in Crafting event. This is a wonderful, rather new event that Lisa Boone Designs has been coordinating for us through the Crafty Bunch group. And so I'm the first one to kick us off today. We have actually a really great lineup of people who are going to be presenting today. Of course, I said I'm the first person going, so you have a number of people after me. I'm trying to pull up this so I don't miss anybody. We got Mama P's Crafting, Crafty Creations today. Texie's Treasure Chest is today. My Shell Bell Creations. Of course, Lisa from Lisa Boone Designs. Joyful Artistry by Heidi. And Studio Lydia Brigitte Design. All live today for you, bringing you Christ in Crafting. So please say hello when you get here. I'm so happy to be the one to kick us off. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. So normally on Sundays, I do art journaling anyway with my membership club. So what I've been doing is sharing. Last month, I was honored to be one of the presenters too for Christ in Crafting. And so what I did was I just took our normal weekly gratitude journaling that I do in the club, and I made it public, sharing it not only to other club members, but to everybody and with you. So again, thanks for being here. I'm going to make sure that the feed is working and we're going to get started. I'm actually going to be using a rather odd, I don't even know, it's not really a craft supply, but I'm going to be using it that way today. Has anybody ever created with white wax, beeswax pellets? We're going to be using them. In fact, I'm going to get my little trusty iron going here. I'm going to plug it in. Oh, it's plugged in. I'm going to get it on its hottest setting, and I'll explain to you what I'm going to be doing here. Let me just say hello to the folks who are coming in. All right, now I see you. There's Trisha and Debbie and Kim. Hey, Jennifer and Janet and Sherry. Good morning. Thank you for fluffing the nest. I appreciate you so much. That means the world to us, and it really helps to spread us out. The other thing that you can do, doesn't cost you a darn thing but a second of your time. Just hit that like button on this video, please. Whether you're watching from YouTube or on Facebook, either way, whichever way we're connecting with you. If you're watching inside the free club, the Crafty Bunch, that's where this event will take place all day long. So if you just want to seamlessly find every single creator throughout the day, every hour it's going to switch to a new person, go into the Crafty Bunch, that free group on Facebook. So if you're catching me from there, please still hit that like button. You guys, we need the help. We need the help. I don't know what it is, but there aren't a lot of people doing that anymore, and it really affects our businesses. So if you could give us that support all day long, that is super appreciated. So thank you for that. Hey, Andrea, thanks for being here. Let me get this screen bigger. I'm going to show you this beeswax again here in a second. So this is the journal I'm working in. So this journal, here are a couple of the more recent journal entries that I've done in here. Well, that was a play. I didn't even finish that one. So here are some of the more recent ones. Now, in the Craft Therapy Club, we were testing out these products. I wrote it down. We were testing out different mediums. And so I created this background testing new mediums. I thought, let's just use this. I'm going to use this. That'll give me time to prep with the wax this photo. Now, I printed a bunch of photos for my focal point for this. I printed a bunch of them. Oh, look at this one. So beautiful. And I actually really wanted to use her, but then I had this background already going. So I thought, oh, I'm not sure that I want the purple on here. I'm thinking the black and white photo as opposed to the purple dress. I don't know. You tell me what you think. It's going to be one of these. I'm leaning toward this one. When you have that many to choose from, you can't really go wrong. It's not a bad decision. One's not better than the other. They're just different. Before I do anything, I'm going to finish this frame that I did here. I'm going to finish it out with a Stabilo pencil, and then I'm actually going to, I think, top coat this whole thing because it's a napkin. And then on top of that, some watercolors. And I want to just top coat it, I think, before I finish. And so we'll talk about that when I get to that point, the difference between top coating or not. How many of you art journal? I'd love to hear from you about your art journal journeys. Do you use Christ in crafting? Do you? Debbie likes the black and white one. So does Joanne. All right, girls, that's what we'll do. That's what we'll do. Thanks, Debbie, for saying that. I adore this page. Thank you. The purple will stand out. I think we're going to do something to the photo, either one that we used, but this one, we're going to wax it. I'm going to wax this photo, and I may layer it with some other things. So we'll see. I'm not sure. We're going to see. We're going to see how we can get this to play out together. It'll be, Kimberly, it'll be interesting and a challenging nonetheless. So I used my charcoal pencil, and now I'm activating, I'm wetting it to get it to really come off that page even more and spread out that color. So I have a nice smoky dark frame all the way around. This is just a pen. Oh, it's almost out actually. Let me open it up. So in the barrel of the pen, you can squirt some just regular water. I usually use distilled water, just so I don't get any bacteria or anything icky in there. So I'm going to fill it all the way up. You can see it holds quite a bit of water. And then it just releases the water in the brush. I think they're called water brush pens. And then I can just squeeze it to get the water to come out rather than spraying the whole page. I can really concentrate that water just on that charcoal line, which is what I want. I want it to look real smoky, and I want to spread that color out. I don't want just one straight black line. I want it to smoke out. So that's what we're doing here. And then when I'm done with it, actually, I could probably drop you guys down. Let's see. Can I get you down a little further? There. Maybe you can see a little more. Pardon all the jumping around on the screen. I'm trying to get you guys a little closer to the book so that you can see what I'm doing. I don't need all these paints here taking up room. So let's move up. All right, there we go. So you'll see that's just a pencil mark. It looks just like a dry pencil mark, but when that charcoal, when you touch it, it's water reactive. It's charcoal pencil. Stabilo All pencils, they're called. I sell them in my shop. They come, I have blue and brown in my shop. I use both of them. I really love using them, as you can see. There we go. Now, I put a line to separate the top from the bottom because I was trying to showcase the difference between the two products that we were testing out. So I'm just going to finish that line, smoke it out a little more, but get it to show. Why not? It's there. We'll use it. Okay, now it's very dry and papery. It's a paper napkin with some different, it has two different things on the top and the bottom. The top has Redesign Shine Decoupage Gel, and the bottom has clear textured gesso. So they have two different things on them. Doesn't matter. We'll still be able to use it as our background. Do you guys use Christ in crafting? That's the theme for today's event. Not everybody will be doing art journal pages. You know, you don't know what the other creatives are going to bring forward and how they're going to bring their faith into what they create today. But since we're on topic and that's what the whole event is, I'd love to have you share how you use your faith in your creating. And do you share it with anybody, or is it something that you keep private? Either way, there's nothing wrong with either answer. Keeping it private, keeping it to yourself as a form of journaling, or if you share it with others by making gifts for people. They're both beautiful ways to create. Hi, Cheryl. How are you? Hey, Gia. Thanks for being here. Jolene says, I love watching you play. Thanks, Jolene. And Andrea says, I love using water pens. Aren't they fun? They're just fun. And they're so easy. They're light. They're easy to hold. Debbie likes the black and white picture. Okay, I'm going to grab a chair. Come on as well. Okay, now, here's the thing. So I got to think about this. We're going to wax her. And clearly she's too big to fit entirely on this page. So we're going to cut her at about this point. I want, you know, her head, as much of her body as I can get on here. So she'll be cut something like that. And After I wax her, a lot of times what the wax does to the paper is it makes it a bit translucent. I don't mind if this isn't completely straight, but I do need to tear off. I don't want this white margin on out here, this white. I don't want to necessarily cut it with a scissor. It's really hard to tear a tiny itty bitty piece of paper, as you can see, because it's just hard to get a hold of it. All right, there we go. Very messy, but we did it. Let's get her down to at least, I don't know yet if I'm going to cut her profile. I may, haven't decided if I'm going to cut her profile, and I'll show you what I mean by that here in a second. She looks very introspective to me. Like her demeanor with her eyes are like almost cast down. She looks very serious. She almost looks glum. But gosh, she's beautifully adorned. Look at her head, the pearls or beads in her hair and then hanging down. She's beautiful, just beaded adornments on. She's going to fit in here perfectly. Actually, my black outlining with the charcoal really it really matches the sketch of her really well. What I'm wondering, I think I'm going to end up cutting her profile out so we see more of the background instead of seeing that straight line. So let me do that now before we wax her. And I will actually go back to that same pen. I have my glass table on here, which is helpful because I can wipe it clean really easily. Hey, Sherry Predmore, welcome. Hey, Joanne, welcome, ladies. Thanks for being here. Diana's here. Lisa says, I love using wax. I can't wait to see what you create. See, Lisa, it's so interesting and fun to use. It's really fun to use. It's pretty inexpensive, actually, I think, to use. And it gives you really, really good results. It's really interesting texture. And the look to the paper changes, which I love. Debbie says, I've never used wax and I'm willing to learn something new. I love your spirit, Debbie. I love that spirit. I got to put that comment up on the screen because that's just awesome what you just said. Let's see if I can get that highlighted up on the screen. Hey, Jamie Krause, welcome. Thanks for being here. Lisa, thank you for inviting me to be part of this again. Thanks so much. I do appreciate you. I'm honored. All right, I'm trying to get this to prop up over here without getting in my way. All right, I'm going to, just like we would do with a napkin, this is regular printer paper. I'm going to try to use a little bit of water to help me get this tear line. It should help me the same. The thing is, I have an inkjet printer, so the ink, it will likely smear a little bit, which it did. It did. It's going to smear a little bit. You may get a, like, if this was blue, you might get a lighter blue around where you wet it. So you have to be okay with that happening. Just know that that might happen. Here in front of her face, there's not a lot of room to rip. There just is. Look at, we're right at her nose. So I better be very careful around her little precious face. She's beautiful, isn't she? All right, now I am going to fussy cut around her profile. I just think it's going to look better on the page than having that straight line. I don't want to lose any of her baubles. That her necklace goes, her beads go all the way down the front of her dress, like hanging in front, you know. I think that's going to look better on the page. Yep. So much better. I may even tear this bit. It softens it as well. I think it really softens the look of it. I like that it fills the entire top to bottom length of the page. And then here is where I'm going to write my journal entry today, which we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a little while. All right, so we got to wax her up because I think I'm going to wax her, and then I may, it just depends on how the wax looks on this. I may or may not end up layering her with some fabrics. Let's get her waxed up and then we'll decide. Okay, to wax her up, let me put this aside. I've got my iron on the hottest setting. I have a glass table mat. This is really important. Do not do this on your vinyl table, your self-healing cutting table. Do not do this on there. Anything with heat. Get yourself a glass mat or use like a a heat protective pad. You can buy those on Amazon, or I got mine on Amazon, but it's like a towel, except it's heat protectant for your table, so that it's just like your ironing board cover, except it's a small pad, not ironing board shaped. Do you know what I mean? Okay, I'm going to take this. I'm going to put under her. This is parchment paper. Okay, it's just that natural brown colored parchment paper. I'm going to put her on top. I need more parchment paper to put between her, the wax, and my iron. So we need layers to protect our table, layers to protect our iron. I had to go into a new parchment paper. It's just a different color. It's still just parchment paper, baking paper, some people call it. So we're going to do this. That looks so much better. Oh, good. I'm glad. I'm glad. Debbie says, I'm back from my road trip. Well, God bless you, girl. I'm glad things went well. You're safely back home. Hope you had a great time. You love that layout, Janet. Thanks for saying that. Oh, Lisa, love to you too, friend. Love to you too. I'm honored, more than honored to be here with the likes of the ladies who are hanging out with us today and sharing their Christ and crafting journey. I love I've been gratitude journaling on every Sunday since not last November, the November before that. So a year and a half of weekly gratitude journaling in my membership club. And it's evolved over time, which has been really nice. Okay, I'm taking a handful of these little wax pellets. Oh, look I got charcoal pencil on my hands. It's okay. This is what they look like. They can tend to clump together, like this. But I don't want them to clump. I want them to spread. This is the same as if you have, listen, if you have leftover candles and you don't burn candles anymore, and you have taper candles that are white or off-white, you could just use your cutting knife, your X-Acto knife, and chip off bits of candle wax, right? You could do that. This is that a piece of beeswax? No, that's paper. This is just beeswax that I bought in this huge container. It is 2 pounds of it. I think it's going to last me a long time. You do not need this kind. This is cosmetic grade wax for making, I suppose, like chapstick and stuff. You don't need all that, girls. You can just use the candles that you got. Okay. I would just say you want something white or cream. You don't want something, I mean, maybe you do. Maybe you want a blue tint over it. But if you use a pink or a blue candle, you're going to get blue wax over your project. Okay. I just want it to be kind of clear. So that's what they look like. Okay. I'm going to put the excess back in the bag. These are going to melt now in between the parchment papers. It's going to entirely soak this paper, and it's going to look like it's embedded in wax. It is. It's going to be embedded in wax. So we're going to start, and I have this doubled up. If I singled it, you probably can, it's so thin, the parchment paper, you can see through that very easily. So let's start here. And if it gets on my iron, I'm going to change it out, but we're just going to put it on there, and you're going to feel it. It's going to start melting down. You can see that. Can you see that? It's going to start melting down, and it forms like a liquid under there. While it's hot, it's liquidy, and we want to spread it all over her. We want to fully encase her in wax liquid. And that's where the pellets really help, because we can spread them out easily. They're all uniformly sized, as opposed to just chopping it off a candle. You're likely not going to get all uniform size pieces of wax, but you can see, look at how far it spreads all the way out to here. So I used quite a bit because I didn't want to have to keep monkeying and putting more in and putting more in. I used quite a bit, so it will go by quickly. It's not yet getting on my iron, so that's good. One layer so that you can really see what I'm doing here. It's going to completely soak her in this beeswax. Whoa, look at how far it's going. I do want it even. So now that it's all hot and melted, I'm going to give it a nice run with the iron and just try to even out. Oh, look at it. Went down out onto my table here. I got a little bit just oozed right on out. That's how much I used. You don't need to use that much. I just thought for the sake of time, I'm just going to really soak her down. Okay. She's done, basically. I'm going to see if I peel this off, it should leave her on the original paper. And now I can leave her to dry there. You see she's completely encased in wax. It's still very wet. You can see that. We're going to give her a minute to dry. And then we should be able to peel her off. I don't like the way, do you see the way I had so much wax on there? You see I have a little like, it's a little uneven right there. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but all you would have to do is come back in and re-wet it and move it around. It may just be, you know, because I put so much that it's building up right there. So you can wet it and push it off to the side. You see, this is my little Dodo Dum brand iron, and it's doing plenty. You don't even need a really big iron for this. You can use your regular craft iron. So I'm going to keep doing this until I can move any of the excess so I don't have a buildup. So it doesn't take long. I get a little bump of wax right there that's resisting me. I'm pushing it out because I want it to be, you know, as even as I can get it. Okay, that's better. All right, there's lots of wax left on here even because I used so much. You do not need to use as much as I used. I just did that so that you guys wouldn't be waiting forever and a day for this to get soaked. Okay. We're going to let it dry, and then we're going to peel her off of here. It changes the look of the paper. It's still just a tiny bit warm. It's not, you know, it's warm, like it feels good, like a hand warmer would in the winter. Lots of wax left over on here. So if you're going to be doing multiple pieces of paper this way, like if you have a lot of images that you want to wax for tags or ATC cards or gift tags or paper, you know, if you're decorating gift bags or something, you can just keep continuously coming on here. There's enough wax in here. I probably could do a whole nother image or lots of it by re-wetting that wax. So I wouldn't throw this out, right? Like here's that little bit that oozed. I'm going to put it on top of there, roll this up. I keep this with my wax. So the next time I need to wax, I open this up and I still have wax that's usable here. There's no need to throw that out. I'm frugal that way. I mean, girls, if it makes you happy, throw it out. If it's like that's such a little amount, you don't want to worry about it, then don't. Me, what I'm going to do with this is put it right here in my wax thing. Keep that for later. I'll clear this off. I had a little bit of wax on my table, but I'll deal with that later. Now here she is all waxed up. Now I want to show you how different. This is the paper that I tore off of. This was the this is the rest of her. All that paper that I tore off from her. This is standard printer paper. So I want you to see the difference in the coloring of her. And let me just check the comments before we talk about this. Isn't that amazing, Debbie? It's so fun and interesting and satisfying. For some reason, that process is so gratifying to me. And if you really like the look of a waxed project, it's great to do a bunch of them at once. Like if you print out a bunch of printables that you like, that you want to use on your art journal pages or in your junk journals or on tags or whatever, for paper bags or whatever you're doing with them. Do them all at once and then just have them available to you in your stash, just like you do any other printable. I used beeswax, Sandy. I got the mini iron. Diana, it's in my Amazon store, the folder or the craft supplies you'll love. You'll find this in my store. So just Google the Comfy Nest with Grace Amazon storefront, and then you'll get there and go to the section called craft supplies you'll love. Okay, now check out this huge difference between, this is the original printer paper. This is the rest of her dress. Look at the difference in the coloring between her, the paper, printer paper, and now this having been waxed, and actually it makes it translucent. See how it almost looks like vellum. You know, you can see my hand through there. You can see the grid marks on the table through her dress, where here you can't see that when the paper has not been waxed. So it gives it this really beautiful translucent waxy appearance. And it gives it a texture, a waxy texture. So it can be a really beautiful element to add to anything you want, any project you want. And it's really simple and easy to do. Once you have the wax, see, now I can see my background color come through so beautifully compared to taking a regular piece of printer paper. This is the bottom of her dress. Now, if I put that on this page, I mean, really, isn't this just so much more beautiful? It just pulls my eye in so much. It's so interesting. It feels beautiful. I don't know. It just looks so much richer looking than just the plain piece of paper. And we can see that little bit of blue and green coming through the transparent paper. Now, if I had taken Purple Girl, you guys, I can't even help myself. I'm kind of a teacher at heart, so I can't even help myself when I do a project. This is what I do. I talk through the supplies. I talk through like potential outcomes. I talk through alternative supplies that you could use. I like to point these things out so you just have as many tools in your toolbox as possible when you're creating. Okay. Now, if we had done this on Purple Girl, that's what I mean by Purple Girl, she would still be translucent, but she would be purple and translucent. So it would be the purple and translucent over the blue and green. And I don't know personally that I would prefer that. That's why I went with this girl, knowing that the wax was going to make her translucent. She's beautiful. I will use her some other time, but not on this blue-green background. So once you know what a supply like our beeswax pellets, what a supply like this does to your paper, then you know whether you want to use that on this particular project and with what printable. Now you can make decisions. Isn't that crazy? Kimberly says it's unbelievable how much the wax made her stand out so much more. And actually, I think she blends with the page more. This is a really abstract watercolor. We've got a gray floral napkin back there, but on top of that, I watercolored with blues and greens, and then I used a charcoal pencil to make these marks. And this was in the Craft Therapy Club. We were testing 2 different product lines. So up here was one product line, down here was another product line. So that line was to help us see the difference. I'm just gonna leave the line there. The line it's not going to do anything bad with this art journal page. So I'm just going to leave it there. It did serve a purpose when we were testing product, but I'm just going to leave it there and use it as part of my journal page. She just flows really well with that charcoal line because she was already a black and white photo, or grayscale anyway. So there's a lot of grayscale in the photo of her, the picture of her. But now that she's semi-translucent, it just makes the background show so well. She just blends so well. So anyway, there's your little demonstration. Oh, Tony Lynn, well, I'm glad you're here. Diana says, I love the look with the wax. I do too. I'm going to shut off my iron because I'm not going to use it again and I don't want to burn myself. So let me get that shut off. And then, oh, it's hot. I'm just going to scoot it over. And then let me get 2 more things. Drink of water, if you don't mind. And then I'm going to grab my regular, this is my regular gratitude journal that I do weekly with the Craft Therapy Club members. And my gratitude journal, normally, I decorate one side. This is a junk journal that I made, okay, with a bunch of pages. It's just a junk journal. I decorate one side however I'm feeling like that day, and then I literally write a journal entry on the other side, okay, which is prayerful. It's generally gratitude. It's a gratitude journal. Thanks and praise to God for the blessings in my life is generally what I write about every single week. I think it's a good way to phrase your day, not just your week, but every day, to approach the day in a place of gratitude for all the blessings that we have. Even when you're in a place of hardship, I think it's really important to remember our blessings every day. So that's how I use this journal. I decorate one side, I write a journal entry on the other side. Decorate, write. Sometimes it's on the opposite side of the page. Here, there is writing there in gold. I know it's hard to see, but I did write a journal entry there. You could see my gold writing kind of. I like using the gold metallic and it kind of hiding in a page too sometimes. So that's generally my mode. Decorate, write. Now, this with Christ in Crafting, I went into one of my art journals, and instead of writing a journal entry last week and this week, what I'm doing is I've just come from Mass and I have my Mass booklet here. And last week I chose something that really jumped out at me from the Mass, a scripture reading or a psalm or something. And so I'm going to do the same thing today. I'm going to write here a prayer. It's actually part of the introduction, part of the Mass. I'm going to write part of that prayer here for the Christ in Crafting. It's not exactly how I've been doing my gratitude journaling, but this would be a way that you could prayerfully do journal entries. It's half art journaling, half gratitude and prayer journaling. And you can, of course, you can do it however you want, right? You can morph that into any format that you want. Now I'm looking for my fabrics. Hang tight. I'm going to grab some of these and just see if I have room on this page. She's so feminine and beautiful. I may want to just put a little fabric on here as well. Thanks, Debbie, for saying so. Debbie Chandler says, let's see what she's saying. I love how you teach about so many supplies. I got the wax pellets last time you showed them. The look is beautiful, I think. Love the purple gold too. They are. They're both beautiful. Debbie, they're both great. And they'll both make beautiful like focal points for different pages. You're right about that. They're just different. I just think she kind of goes really well with the blue and green. Good morning, Darunda. I agree. It sets our mind in the right perspective to reflect on what God has done for us every day, right? Thanks and praise be to God, even when I don't feel great, even when I'm a little bit down or blue or something has happened that, of course, you question, like, why did that happen to us, God? Or why are we going through this right now? But yet still every single day, especially living as Americans, we have so many things to be thankful for. So many. It can be little. It can be a hot cup of coffee in the morning. It can be, I always bring up pets because I think we don't even have a pet anymore, but pets can bring so much joy. So I generally say, oh, if it's your pet, your dog or your, whatever pet you have that lovingly greets you every morning or every day when you get home from work, maybe that's what you're grateful for. And it's a good thing to be grateful for. All right, now I'm just trying to see if there's room on here for some lace. This lace has some blue embedded in it, blue threading on each of the flowers. And she's taking up almost the whole space. So there really isn't room under her unless I have it hang over the edge of the page, which actually wouldn't be bad. I don't know that I would want it here though, maybe just under her. So it looks like a continuation of her dress a little bit. I think before I decide on that, I won't glue her down. I can get my writing in place and see how much room my writing is going to take, because it's kind of a longer thing that I want to write, and then see about putting a piece of this blue. This is the lace I would use though. So I kind of had that one in mind, knowing that I had a lace with a little bit of blue in it. So next up is to figure out the writing. Okay, a couple of things to talk about. Let's talk products. I have time, yes? I have a little bit of time, yes. Kimberly, isn't the lace nice? It just adds texture and like a sense of femininity. It's just so feminine and dainty and pretty. So thank you for saying that. Hi, Ada. Yes, please do that. I would love to have you watch the whole thing when you get a chance. Yes, we could leave it loose. Absolutely, Capri. Oh, so many options. Yes, right? There's so many options. Okay, here's what I want to write. In my own prayer journey. So I've been doing a podcast. I'm a Catholic, podcast is Rosary in a Year, and we've been practicing what is a prayer, a form of prayer called Lectio Divina, where you read the Word of God, you focus on a certain phrase, and then you let that phrase, whatever phrase comes out at you or whatever word, and it could be different every day for me. And certainly if we read the same, say this is from Isaiah, if we read the same verse from Isaiah, what pops out at me today might be different than what would pop out to me tomorrow. And what pops out for you may be different today versus tomorrow, because he meets you where you are. He meets you where you're needing his love, his mercy, his grace. So whatever message he's trying to get across will come out at you as you're reading. So that's how I've been forming these, is like when I'm reading, when I go to Mass and I'm listening to the readings and in our praise and thanksgiving, the things that pop out at me for the day is what I like to focus on when I'm gratitude journaling. So this one right here, I'm going to read it to you. I don't think I'm going to write this whole thing, but let me read the whole thing and then you'll see there are some words that are kind of old-fashioned wordy. You'll see. Let me read it to you and you'll know what I mean. It says, "By your help, we beseech you, Lord our God, may we walk eagerly in that same charity with which, out of love for the world, your Son handed himself over to death. Through our Lord Jesus Christ, your Son, who lives and reigns with you in the unity of the Holy Spirit, God forever and ever. Amen." Okay, the beseech word is a very old-fashioned word, yeah? By your help, we beseech you, Lord our God. This is the part that really stuck out to me. May we walk eagerly in that same charity with which, out of love for the world, your Son handed himself over to death. Man alive, that's weighty. We're asking God to help us walk eagerly in the same charity with which God handed his Son over to death. Holy buckets. Think about that. If you go through your day asking God, help me walk, I want to do it eagerly. Help me to have a heart of eagerness, of charity for other people. Yeah, are we asked to hand ourselves over in death? Well, God isn't asking us to do that. Most of us, some saints have been martyred, but most of us aren't going to be asked to hand ourselves over to death. So at the very least, we could be handing over something, a word of grace or love or kindness or forgiveness, or do you fill in the blank? Where you meet the people that you see all day, like the people you work with, the people you live with, the people you work out with, you go to prayer group with, your neighbors, people at the grocery store. Can we just walk eagerly and have the same charity that God had when he handed his Son over in death? That really struck out to me because it feels like he's reminding me that that's what we're called to do. So that's what I wanted to focus on. I don't know that I'm going to fit that all here. So what I do a lot of times is I'll use a thin paper, like you could use parchment paper, but I usually use tracer paper. And we did this last week. I gotta find my tracing paper. Uh-oh, I moved it, girls. I moved it. I might have to open a new one. So I usually use tracing paper, and I just tear a sheet out, and it helps me to see how much I can fit. I use it all the time, actually. Oh, here's another one. If you can grab this, sometimes you find it at the thrift store, but really parchment paper is usually thin enough. Any paper that you can see through is really good. So what I usually do, like this is the amount of space that I have. And I don't want to write directly on my book because I may not be able to fit it all. So I'll usually do this. And then with a pencil, I'll start writing in what I think I want to write and see if I can fit it before I actually go in on there. Okay. So I definitely want to write, by your help. And I was thinking about doing, by your help, ... may we walk eagerly in that same charity with which, out of love for the world, your Son handed himself over to death. That's what I want to write. It's a little bit longer than that, but those were the words that really struck out to me, came out, jumped out at me. So I'm just going to write it in my regular handwriting and see what we get. By your help. Usually for me, I don't know how you guys do this, but it says, by your help, we beseech you, Lord our God. these are capitalized. Lord and God are capitalized as they should be. We're talking about God Almighty. It's like a formal, when you think about English, that's the name of our Lord. So Lord our God. But for me, if we're referring to God, this is how I do it. If we're referring to God by your help, this your is referring to I say Lord because I grew up in Massachusetts, Lord our God. Your is referring to Lord. So that I will capitalize normally when I'm writing it out, because the your is a preposition. Oh my gosh, we're getting really technical now, Grace. To me, that we're talking about God here. It should stand out. We should give him honor and praise. So I'm going to actually write him really big. By your help. I'm going to skip the we beseech you. ... I'm going to say ... May we walk eagerly. Oh, this is a lot to write in here. I'm not sure if I'm going to fit it all in that. So I'm writing it just my normal handwriting here to see how much I might have to adapt or change to fit it all. And that same charity with which, out of love for the world, how beautiful, out of love, I'm going to make that really big because that's a key word here, love for the, oh, I would like to fit world on this line, but it's getting tight. But see that this parchment paper is showing me that. So if I wanted to fit that in all on one line, I would have to be tighter over here with this part of the sentence. Out of love for the world. We're going to do your again. So I'm going to do it big. And actually your son, I'm going to do that really big. Your son handed himself over to death. Wow. That's it. It's longer than that, girls, but that's the main part that I wanted to write in. And I still have this space. Wow. So that space would leave room for my lace if I wanted to put it down there. Yeah, I think I can fit it. It just means if I'm going to put this whole line right here, I want to start it like right under her neck, right here, that little indent where I fussy cut around her profile, but I can fit it. So now I can see that I can fit it in this way. So I keep this next to me, and then I can go in here with my marker or whatever and write it in. Now let's talk about markers, because we got a couple of different products going on here. Gia, thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that. To walk eagerly, Debbie, right? Debbie, this is part of the Catholic Mass for today. There's an entrance and antiphon. So we say all of this as it depends on how your Mass is. We didn't have musicians today, so we say this as the priest and the servers and the deacon are processing in for the Mass. And then when they get up to the altar, he starts the Mass, and then he reads this prayer. It's called a collect. It doesn't reference a particular part of Scripture, Debbie. So someone wrote this prayer, and actually it's written really well with the timing of the Mass in the liturgical year, right? Because Easter is coming. So Good Friday, Holy Thursday, Good Friday, when he is persecuted and crucified, right? He walked eagerly. Can we walk eagerly in the same charity in which he handed himself over to death? It's perfect timing with Easter. So it's written because it's perfect timing with Easter to think about ourselves giving as graciously and as eagerly as he did. And that's what he calls us to do. As followers of Christ, Christians, we follow Christ, we follow him. We are called to walk eagerly in that same love for the world. And that means everybody, even the people you don't like. Let me just say it. I know it's hard, but even the people we don't like, I can still say I love them as God loves them. And my mother used to say sometimes to us, if I would do something wrong and she'd be mad at me and I'd say, Mom, you hate me. And she always said, no, I don't hate you, Grace. I'll never hate you. I love you so much, but I don't like what you did. Why? What did I hit my brother? Did I steal? I don't know. What did I do when I was a kid? I don't know. But if I did something wrong, she would always point out it's not who you are, it's what you did that I don't love. I don't love what you did, the bad thing that you did, but I will always love you. And that's exactly the message that Christ wants us to give to everybody. It's what he gives to us. It's why he went to death, to redeem us from our sin, right? So he's calling us to love each other in that same eager way. And I love that you pulled out that word eagerly. Right? How beautiful. There's a big difference between liking and godly love. Exactly, Capri. Exactly. Okay, I have a challenge here. 2 different products. Up here I have this Decoupage Gel Shine. It's a glue for the napkin. Is up here. And then down here I have textured gesso. The gesso will take any marker or pen I want to put on it. I don't know how this is going to react to a pen or marker, but how much time do we have? We have 15 minutes. What I could do to be safe is a couple of things. If I wanted this to be shiny, we could coat it with a top coat like a glossy Mod Podge. And then with what pen or marker on top of Mod Podge would have to be like a Sharpie marker, something permanent that would easily glide over the Mod Podge coating if we did that. I think what I'll do is just put a coat of textured gesso on top. I have it down here already. So I'm just going to put a little bit of gesso up top to make sure that whatever marker I come in with is going to take it and it's not going to do something funky with it. So I'm just going to put a little bit of gesso in this space where I didn't have any. Now, when I touch that charcoal marker, it's probably going to move that dark black charcoal pencil. I mean, it's going to move that a little bit. So I better be careful not to move it much more if I don't want to move it. But I do want to just put a protective barrier between the napkin and my writing, whatever writing, like marker or pencil, whatever you want to use, pen. I usually, when I do gratitude journaling, I'm just going to do an extra coat since it's already wet and we have to wait for it to dry. Let me put a little extra down on the bottom too. When I write in my gratitude journal, I always use a gold gel pen. I don't think I want to use gold here. I think I'm going to use black. And I actually have a new black, I think I have a new black metallic gel pen. I was planning on using a black marker, but before I do that, let me see if the black gel pen, and actually, I'm going to see if it'll work on here, how it's going to show up. Oh yeah, I think it, Andrea, it's worth a shot. It's worth trying. It's absolutely worth trying. Thank you. Oh, Moments with Celeste, thank you for saying that. It's good to reflect, isn't it? It's good. And you know what? I noticed there aren't, trying not to talk too much when that's going because I know it's distracting and loud. You tell me, I would like to hear your perspective on it, but there aren't a lot of people that talk about Christ. Yeah, we're in a crafting community. And so not all of us are always crafting with Christ centered in our Christ-centered crafting. So I'm just thrilled that Lisa has put together this event and she's going to do it once a month, inviting different creatives to share their perspective on Christ and crafting. I think it's beautiful and I love that she's doing it. I'm honored to be part of it. Okay, here's my Uniball, my new black metallic Uniball. I haven't used it yet, so we probably got to get it going here. Oh, look, it went right away. I think I'm going to use this. I usually use gold, but oh, the other thing I could do, another one that would look nice would be silver on top of this. Now I'm going to use the black. It's going to stand out so much more. Anyway, you tell me, do you hear a lot of people speak of Christ? I know Dina and Kenny always pray, or they usually pray, don't they? After they share creative time. Beyond them, are there others? Who are other creatives if you wouldn't mind sharing in the comments other creatives in the crafting realm who share Christ and the word of Christ while they're creating or crafting or spending time with you online. Who are they? Do you mind sharing them out there? Because I think it's a good idea to support them for sure, right? We should try to support them. And maybe you have other people who you follow who are not crafters, but who speak of Christ. Share them. There's no reason why we shouldn't be sharing that out there in the world, so we can all have more Christ-centeredness on our social media. There's no reason not to. All right, let's see. Now, wish me luck, girls. Because if I make a mistake, it's in black. Oh boy. I usually try not to get too worked up, but by your help. Now, I am trying to be a little more neat than I was over here. May we walk eagerly in that same charity with which, now I shortened the wording. This isn't exactly the wording that was in the Mass this morning, but you know what? Debbie asked where it came from. There is no reference to anywhere in the Bible. So someone obviously wrote this prayer to be timely with where we are in the liturgy of the Mass. I will take a picture of this and share it on the page later. So if anybody wants to have a copy or pray with it later, you totally can. Jimmy Lou from the Messy Craft Corner does a prayer and crafting on Sunday. Good. Thank you for sharing that, Alex. You guys keep sharing if you don't mind. Hey, Funky Junk Inspiration. There's my friend Christy. Crafting on a Budget. Stephanie and Gary. Luann, is that Luann? Luann, she's suggesting they also share Christ and crafting. Heidi Scott and DIY Dreaming, and she does it on Sundays. Thank you, Debbie, for sharing that. Oh, thanks, Tony Lynn. Thank you. Okay, charity with which, out of love for the world. Now this one, okay, actually, when I did this before, I had more space between these lines. Look at, here's where charity with ended here. I was going to do out of love for the world here, which I suppose I could still do and just leave a space in between. But I could also separate that. I did this Y down low, so I think I'm going to skip over here and say out of, and I'll do love really big here, love for the world. So because I had that big Y coming down, I made it kind of frilly and pretty. I just changed the positioning of those words, but I know I have the room for it because I've already sketched it out here on my parchment paper, and I can compare the two, and I can see where I started here and charity ended here before, and now my charity ended way up here, almost an inch higher. So I had one full length that I could separate that next line out and make it 2 lines instead. So that worked out okay for me. For the love of the world, your son, and I want that really big, your son handed himself over to death. What a profound thought. Wowzer. By your help may we walk eagerly in that same charity with which, out of love for the world, your son handed himself over to death. There's more to it. I'll share it later. I'll take a photo and I'll share it later. But let's see now. Maybe we can. I don't know that I like it, though. I think I'd rather just have this be plain and just have a little bit of this lace hanging out underneath her. I'm going to cut a little bit of this and see about maybe just using a smaller portion of this. And maybe I won't. Maybe, let's see. I kind of like the idea of it extending beyond her as though it's her dress. And then, of course, you know me, I love when I close a book and there's something hanging out. That makes me so happy for some reason. I don't know, it just makes me happy. I think that's what I'm going to do, is do this like this. And I think I'm going to cut this big flower, which will be hanging down, that lacy part of the flower. I would rather see that highlighted. So I'm going to cut the opposite end that doesn't have any of that detail, because I want to take just about 1/4 inch off of there and then hang this here. I'm going to glue that right there with her. Okay, easy breezy. Now we just glue. Hey Vicky, hey Alex. Go over love for the world in gold or silver. That's a good idea. That's a great idea. Oh, you guys, we could, I just squirted glue on myself. We could get so creative with that, right? I usually on Sundays, when I do this sharing with the ladies in the Craft Therapy Club, we do this every Sunday. I'm happy to share it with you guys here for this event, which is Christ in Crafting. I'm the person kicking off the event, by the way. If you're just coming in, or if you just came in recently, this event is called Christ in Crafting. It's being coordinated by Lisa Boone Designs in the Crafty Bunch. And you guys, I'm looking for a clear glue that I can use. All day, you know, there's like 5 or 6 other crafters after me who will be coming up after me and sharing. So you will find the rest of the creatives sharing inside the Crafty Bunch. That would be the easiest and fastest way to find them all. If you go into the Crafty Bunch and just keep every hour, when there's a changeover to the new creator who will be sharing, just refresh your browser in the Crafty Bunch. That will be the easiest way to keep track and follow everybody, especially if you don't have the list of creatives for today. Please be sure to hit the like button on our sharing, our creative broadcast, because we need the help. I'm not getting a lot of that lately, and it's like tanking my numbers on Facebook, which means when my numbers tank on Facebook because nobody's responding by hitting the like button or commenting, which all of you who are doing those things, thank you. If you're sharing, you're liking, you're commenting, it helps us show to other people, because it says to the algorithm, hey, there are people really liking what she's sharing today. Let's show it to more people. That's what it does. So you want to help spread the word of God and what we're sharing today, all of us creatives, share our podcasts. You'll be eagerly and with charity sharing the love that Christ has for the world by getting this message out to more people. Maybe it'll touch someone in a way that they need it. It likely will, maybe they're just struggling and they need to be reminded that not only are we called to love each other that way, but yes, God loves you in that way. I don't love this little bit of this lace sticking out right here. So before this glue solidifies, I'm going to chop this off because I don't like it sticking out right there. Probably got glue on my scissors, so I'll have to clean them when I'm done. So thank you. For those of you who are doing that, just hitting that share button, hitting that like button, those of you who are commenting, all of these things really, really help us so much. And I'm saying thank you on behalf of everybody. Thank you. Thank you. So this part right here looks a little bare, yeah? So I might just take my pencil again. See how dark my frame is up here? But it's lighter down here, and now I have room down here. I think I will just extend this and make it a little more pronounced down here. So I added a lot of that charcoal pencil, and then I'll come in with my water brush and just brush that and make it darker. Oh, Callie, thanks for being here. I'm glad to have you here. Isn't she so pretty? I got that off Etsy. It was a printable from an artist on Etsy. So I purchased her printable kit with some of her artwork, which is it's so nice to be able to do that. Okay, so if I want this to stay here, I'm going to need to let it dry if I want it to stay really more pronounced right here. In fact, I'm going to take a little bit of that off. So I'm going to wet my brush a lot, and I'm going to do that. And I can pull some of that color if it's just a little too much. I can pull it off and put it on this napkin here. All right, ladies, thanks for hanging out with me. We have 1 more minute before you're going to jump over. If you want to catch the next Christ in Crafting, jump on over into the Crafty Bunch, that free group. I think it may be Cheryl after me, but because I'm not sure, the best way to find out and to follow along with today's Christ in Crafting event is to go into the Crafty Bunch, that free group. If you're not a member, just request to join. Someone will get you in there today. Thank you for being here with me. I appreciate your company. Know that you are loved. Know that I appreciate you. And I hope you have a beautiful, blessed Sunday. It's a day of rest, remember, ladies, if I can remind you. It's a day to rest and relax and restore yourself, both physically and mentally, in your soul. Day of rest and relaxation, restoration today, okay? Go do it. Enjoy Christ in Crafting, and I'll catch you next time. Love you all.